What?
Maybe today, the bridge could be our chaperone.
The silence before the storm is the most dangerous sound of all. In Blood of My Blood, episode 10 isn't just another chapter. It's the breaking point. Secrets that were buried are clawing their way back to the surface, and betrayals are no longer whispers in the dark, but knives pressed against the skin. Every character stands at the edge of collapse, where one wrong step could bring everything crashing down. The episode opens in the aftermath of chaos, where the balance of power feels more fragile than ever. For weeks, alliances have been stitched together with thin threads of fear and loyalty, but now, those threads are tearing apart. The weight of past sins can no longer be hidden, and even those who believe themselves untouchable find their foundations shaking. Episode 10 sets the stage for a collapse not just of individuals, but of entire legacies built on deception. Characters who once stood side by side now see each other as threats. What once looked like trust has turned into suspicion, and suspicion has hardened into anger. Every glance carries double meaning. Every word hides intent. The question is no longer who will betray whom. It is who hasn't already betrayed everyone else. And with every step forward, the audience can feel the walls closing in tighter, as though fate itself is demanding payment for every past decision. At the center of it all are the secrets that no one dares speak aloud. They are the kind of truths that can shatter families, destroy alliances, and fuel vendettas so powerful that forgiveness becomes impossible. These secrets are not just pieces of information, they are weapons. And in episode 10, those weapons are finally drawn. The revelation of even one hidden truth changes everything, setting off a ripple that spreads through every relationship like fire through dry wood. But betrayal doesn't always come from enemies. The most devastating cuts are dealt by those closest to you, the ones who know where your weaknesses lie. Episode 10 thrives on this theme, reminding us that the most dangerous enemy is often the person sitting beside you. Friends become foes, and blood ties, once thought unbreakable, dissolve under the pressure of greed, ambition, and survival. The audience is left asking, is there any bond strong enough to withstand the weight of betrayal? The tension builds not through loud battles, but through silence, the pauses between words, the hesitation in a hand, the look that lingers too long. These moments of quiet dread remind us that collapse doesn't always happen with an explosion. Sometimes it begins with something as small as doubt. And once doubt takes root, nothing remains safe. Episode 10 is a study in contrasts. The calm is unsettling, the chaos sudden. One scene may appear steady, only for the ground to shift beneath the characters in the very next moment. Betrayal strikes when least expected, like lightning in a clear sky. The unpredictable nature of events keeps the audience unsettled, unable to trust what will happen next, unable to feel secure in who will survive. For the characters, survival is no longer about strength or cleverness alone. It is about endurance in the face of emotional collapse. Loyalties are questioned, alliances are tested, and motives are exposed under the weight of pressure. Even those who believed they could manipulate the game find themselves cornered, forced to reveal parts of themselves they swore would remain hidden. And still, the episode makes one thing brutally clear. Collapse is not just external. It is internal, too. The fear of betrayal corrodes the mind, the guilt of secrets poisons the heart, and the desperate need for control consumes the soul. As each character struggles to maintain their mask, the cracks grow wider. And once the cracks appear, collapse is inevitable. By the end of the first half of the episode, the world of Blood of My Blood is standing on a knife's edge. Every word spoken carries the risk of igniting conflict. Every silence carries the weight of hidden truth. The audience feels it, the pull of destiny, the inevitability of collapse, the certainty that episode 10 will not simply continue the story, but redefine it. If episode 10 begins with suspicion, it quickly spirals into open confrontation. The fragile threads that held uneasy alliances together are now snapping one by one, and each break echoes like thunder. What was once hidden in shadows is dragged into the light, and no character can escape the consequences. Secrets are revealed not as whispers but as explosions, shattering trust and leaving only rubble behind. The first to crumble are the promises made in desperation. Characters who swore loyalty when it suited them now reveal their true colors. The betrayal is not subtle. It is sharp, deliberate, and irreversible. Words once spoken in friendship are now used as weapons, twisted into accusations that cut deeper than any blade. Every character feels the sting of exposure as their carefully built facades collapse under the weight of truth. What makes these betrayals more painful is their intimacy. It isn't strangers turning against one another. It's siblings, lovers, friends. Episode 10 forces the audience to confront the harsh reality that sometimes the ones we trust most are the very ones who destroy us. Each revelation lands like a hammer blow, smashing what little stability remained. And with every revelation, the characters are pushed further into desperation, forced to choose between survival and morality. As betrayals multiply, the collapse begins to spread beyond individuals. Entire alliances fracture, and power itself becomes unstable. Those who once held influence find themselves isolated, their authority reduced to ash. Enemies circle like vultures, ready to strike the moment weakness is exposed. The power struggles that unfold are not loud battles but quiet wars of manipulation, where a single word, a single look, can topple an empire. The atmosphere is suffocating, and the audience can feel the slow suffocation of trust as it dies piece by piece. But collapse is not only about betrayal, it is also about fear. Fear drives every decision, every misstep. Fear of losing control. Fear of being exposed. Fear of being forgotten. And in episode 10, fear transforms even the strongest characters into their most fragile selves. Some lash out, desperate to cling to power. Others retreat into silence, knowing that words could betray them as easily as actions. Each choice is a gamble, and the stakes could not be higher. The pacing of the narrative sharpens like a blade. Tension no longer simmers, it boils over. Scenes shift rapidly from quiet suspicion to explosive outbursts, keeping the audience off balance. No moment feels safe, because safety itself is an illusion. Even in the rare instances of calm, there is a lingering dread, a sense that calm itself is the trap, waiting to spring into violence. As truths unravel, new lies are born to fill the void. Characters scramble to rewrite their stories, to reshape their identities before it is too late. But the more they twist the truth, the more tangled the web becomes. Episode 10 thrives in this chaos, showing that collapse is not just the destruction of what is, it is the corruption of what could have been. Choices narrow, options disappear, and survival becomes a desperate act of deception. The collapse isn't limited to individuals or alliances. It spreads into the very foundation of the world they inhabit. The rules that once governed behavior, the codes of loyalty, even the meaning of blood ties, all are thrown into question. Betrayal has eaten into the roots of everything, and now the entire system is rotting from within. Episode 10 doesn't simply tell a story about characters. It tells a story about a world devouring itself, one secret at a time. To be why the midpoint of the episode, the audience realizes that no one is untouchable. Even those who seemed invincible now find themselves cornered, their own sins rising to choke them. The strong are humbled, the cunning are exposed, and the loyal are punished for their loyalty. Collapse doesn't discriminate. It spares no one, yet, within this collapse lies the seed of something even more dangerous: revenge. Betrayals ignite grudges, and grudges ignite vengeance. Characters who once fought to survive now fight to destroy, consumed not by fear but by fury. The battlefield shifts from survival to annihilation. Episode 10 makes one truth clear: this is no longer about who wins. It is about who suffers the most before the end. The weight of this spiral is relentless, leaving the audience breathless. Every moment feels final, every choice permanent. And with every passing second, the collapse grows louder, heavier, and more inevitable. The question is no longer if collapse will come, but who will still be standing when it does. The storm that has been gathering since the first moments of the season finally breaks in episode 10. The tension that once lingered in whispers now erupts into chaos, and the collapse promised in every secret and betrayal becomes undeniable. The episode moves like a tightening noose, leaving both the characters and the audience gasping for AI RT this stage. The consequences of every decision come crashing down. The lies that were once carefully layered peel away, exposing raw truths that cannot be ignored. The characters who thought they were safe discover that safety was only an illusion. Episode 10 strips them bare, leaving nothing but fear, rage, and desperation. It is not just the downfall of individuals, it is the unraveling of everything they believed in. Betrayals reach their sharpest edge here. The knives come out, not metaphorical but deliberate, and every cut is made with precision. Long-standing alliances crumble in the most brutal fashion. Friends who once vowed to protect each other turn into executioners. Blood ties are shattered, and the truth becomes undeniable. Loyalty is dead, and survival demands sacrifice. Every betrayal carries a sting, but the most shocking are the ones no one could have predicted. The audience is left stunned, watching the collapse consume even the strongest bonds. And yet, the brilliance of this collapse lies in its unpredictability. Just when it seems one character has won, the ground shifts again, revealing a new secret, a new deception, a new betrayal. Nothing holds steady, and no victory is permanent. The power struggles become dizzying, each revelation tearing down what was built only moments before. Collapse here is not a single moment, it is an endless chain reaction, spreading like fire across dry grass, consuming everything in sight. The emotional weight grows heavier with each turn. Characters are not only fighting enemies outside, they are battling demons within. Guilt twists into madness, regret fuels rage, and love itself becomes a weapon. Episode 10 doesn't shy away from showing how betrayal corrodes the soul, turning even the most noble intentions into poison. Every tear shed, every cry of anger, every silence filled with dread builds the atmosphere into something almost unbearable. But in the darkest moments, the stakes expand even further. Collapse is no longer confined to personal grudges or fractured families. It threatens the entire order of their world. The codes of loyalty and honor that once held society together disintegrate under the weight of lies and vengeance. Structures that seemed unbreakable are torn apart, leaving only chaos. The audience begins to see that episode 10 isn't just about the fall of individuals. It is about the collapse of an entire system, and the terrifying vacuum it leaves behind. Revenge drives the final moments. Betrayals ignite fury that cannot be contained, and fury ignites violence that cannot be undone. Some characters lose everything in silence, while others go down in flames, determined to drag their enemies with them. The collapse becomes total, swallowing every certainty, every plan, every relationship. Episode 10 leaves no room for comfort. Only the raw edge of survival remains. And yet, even in this destruction, the shadows of new secrets begin to stir. For every revelation that shatters one alliance, another mystery emerges to darken the horizon. Episode 10 refuses to give closure. Instead, it leaves the audience trembling with questions. Who can be trusted now? What has been lost forever? And most importantly, what horrors are still to come when the dust finally settles? The closing scenes are suffocating in their silence. After so much chaos, the quiet feels unnatural, more frightening than the loudest outburst. Characters stand amid the wreckage of everything they once believed in, broken yet unyielding. Betrayal has destroyed them, but survival demands they continue. And in that silence, the audience knows the truth. The collapse may be complete, but the war has only just begun. The episode ends not with resolution but with dread. Shadows grow longer, secrets grow darker, and betrayals promise to multiply. The stage is set for battles that will go beyond blood ties, beyond loyalty, beyond even survival. Episode 10 leaves its audience with the chilling realization that in this world, collapse is not the end. It is the beginning of something far worse.